The forecast.
All aboard the Thinking Capsule.
The Thinking Podcast.
This is our topical storm.
This is the forecast. My name is Bruhmus.
My name is Gus. I'll be presenting about the 1MDB embezzlement scandal.
My name's Eli, and my topic will be our good friend Jimbo.
All right. My name's Stan, and my topic will be the Latin American debt crisis.
My name's Bruhmus, and I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Yes, Brahma.
This is the podcast with Gus, Dan, and Eli, and special guests. Thinking Capsule, Thinking Podcast, Thinking Capsule, Thinking Podcast. The only rule is that you don't ask what's real. Thinking Capsule, Thinking Podcast, Thinking Capsule, Thinking Podcast. Rock over London, rock over Chicago.
Before we get into it, let me just go off script a little bit and say that I predicted Stan's topic.
You did.
You predicted the region.
We said it was either the Middle East or
Latin America.
Let me say this. Eli has a pretty cool topic because there's probably a lot of information about Jimbo that we can find out because we live near him.
Yeah, that's true. We saw him today.
That's
too,
actually
so that was good research.
I know. Yeah, thanks.
It's actually a very good point, bro.
Primary source.
I was worried. He would tell everyone because
he
thought.
knew.
Yeah, he thought that we were doing the podcast on Tuesday. I told him to tune in.
And for those listening in, that was the original day we were supposed to do it.
Yeah, it's Friday now.
Friday, August 8th, 2025.
Yes.
Roughly 10:40 p.m.
But we made it.
We made it, guys. First edition. Thank you for tuning in. I think we should get started.
Yeah, you want to go first, Gus?
I suppose. All right. So, like I said, I'll be presenting about the 1MDB embezzlement scandal. I don't know.
I've never heard of this.
What's that?
So, it was a multi-billion-dollar fraud scheme centered around a Malaysian sovereign wealth fund, like state-controlled money, and
Wow.
Oh, how'd you come across this?
I actually heard it in a different podcast a really long time ago. It was like my dad is like into economics, so and we share an iCloud, and he had all these economics podcasts downloaded, and I was on a plane or something, and I just listened to one, and it was about specifically the perpetrator, but the whole situation is crazy. This is interesting.
I mean, needless to say, I'm intrigued.
Dude, we got good topics, actually.
Yeah, but I think we got a good first selection.
Yeah.
So, I guess to get started, the two real perpetrators are Najib Razak, who was the Prime Minister of Malaysia from 2009 to 2018, and our second main perpetrator is a man named Joe Low. But I guess I'll just start from the beginning. So Najib Razak, he was elected as the Prime Minister in 2009. Within his first year, he created the One Malaysia Development Berhad, also known as 1MDB more commonly. That's what it stands for, which was basically a sovereign wealth fund, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like a state-controlled money that they invest globally or multinationally to make money on their investments, whether that be stocks or bonds or whatever, even precious metals, and then they take that money and they put it back into government projects, whatever, affordable housing, infrastructure, whatever. So he created this fund, and then from the beginning, there was all this weird sketchy shit going on. One of the first it was $1 billion investment. This is in 2009, the same year 1MDB started. He invested in a company called Petro Saudi, which it kind of turned out maybe this company isn't even real, and they ended up doing this like joint venture called One Malaysia Development Berhad Petro Saudi Limited.
I'm like
Alright.
actually so lost already.
Petro or petrol?
So,
Petro.
Petro.
But like short for petrol.
Yeah.
Like just the name of the
So
company.
Okay, I see.
Najib
Sorry.
Najib made the 1 MDB.
Yes.
Which what is that?
So the 1MDB it's a sovereign wealth fund is what it's called. So it's state. So he's the prime minister. He has this money. It comes from taxes or exports and shit like that. So just state money, government money that he takes, and well, not him personally, but like has experts invest it into the
This
global
thing.
economy.
Called 1 MBD.
No, he's taking the money, money that's in 1MDB, because 1MDB is a fund.
Oh,
so it's just
okay.
basically a bank account.
Okay.
And he gives experts, and he's like, make me more money with my money. You know, invest
Yeah.
in real estate, invest in stocks globally, and then we're going to take the money we make, put it back into our country to develop our country.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Interesting.
And then, so yeah, Petro Saudi was really sketchy, and then eventually, so the first weird thing that comes about is like this guy, Edward L. Morse, is appointed, and he like evaluates all this shit with Petro Saudi, and it's like all this weird ass shit that like goes against the joint venture agreements that Petro Saudi and 1MDB had. So it's like weird shit that like nobody even knew existed, like who has the oil rights to these fields in like Argentina and Turkmenistan, which are two of the locations. And then
So Petro Saudi is something that they invested in with the money that they had in the 1 MDB fund.
yes.
And they would invest in that as part of the sovereign wealth fund. So like, would that come back to like the country?
I mean, that's,
Help, like, build-
that's
it's
the
what it
idea.
was supposed
That's
to.
what it's supposed to.
You would
yeah.
invest in things to generate money for the country,
Exactly.
for infrastructure or
front.
whatever they would want.
And then
And then they appointed some guy, Elliot or whatever.
Edward L. Norris, he's like some
Edward.
English guy, but he like
Okay.
got him to work for this Malaysian fund.
And
And,
then
then he's
he-
like doing all this weird stuff, and he's like, okay, we need to see, we need to see who has the rights to all these oil fields in Argentina and Turkmenistan, which is like 1MDB, according to the agreements, is not supposed to have any control over the business operations of Petro Saudi. You know, it's
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
but so yeah, eventually they just pull out like randomly. I don't know. It's really unclear like what's going on, how much money they spent, how much money they lost or gained. Like a lot of, and this is like when 1MDB started getting detractors, and people were like, "This is sketchy. Like this is a fund. This is a corporation." With no address, no power structures, we don't know who's in control, any sort of position. There's no system of audits on this thing, so it's just like billions of dollars like moving around, and there's like no way for the public to know what's going on with any of it, even though it's their money, it's tax money. But so yeah, they like invest in all this other shit. They invested in Murabana Note, which is a multinational Islamic currency made to avoid usury, because usury is seen as haram in Islam.
What is usury?
Usury is like loaning that like unfairly benefits the loaner.
I'm here.
Yeah.
So
you know.
just like weird shit going on, and then they made a bunch of profit off of the Murabana Note, like just like basically flipping it, and it's like, and that's kind of the opposite of the whole fucking idea of the note, that it's like supposed to not be haram. Yeah, and then they like invest a bunch more money into some weird subsidiaries of Petro Saudi, like in Venezuela, like all these weird like probably shell companies, stuff like that. But yeah, and then so
Shell, like the gas.
no,
Station.
no.
Sorry. like with the shell
I'm
of a
on the
company.
same. I'm on the same page
A
as you,
shell
Bruhmus,
company,
even though
a
I'm
fake
laughing.
company.
I'm just
I
a
don't know
bad
what the
learner,
fuck
I'm
that
sorry.
means. I don't know what any
The
of this
company,
shit
you know, like
fucking
in Better
means.
Call Saul, when he has the fucking, what is his fake company called? Like,
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? A fake company.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah, I understand.
Company that doesn't exist, but they're funneling money into.
Yes.
Yes.
And then, so,
Understood.
And then, so, 1MDB, very sketchy. And
Yeah.
now we're going to pivot over to Jolo.
Jolo, yeah.
Interesting character. He was born
Don't get confused with
in-
J-Lo.
Don't get it confused with J-Lo, yes.
Lawrence.
That's important to note.
Jennifer
Jolo,
Lopez.
it's spelled Jho, last name Low.
That's a fucking awesome
Cool last name,
man.
yes. He was
so
born
cool.
on this like small island in Malaysia. He's ethnically Chinese. This is important.
Why is that so funny? Why is that so funny?
Truth
You just
nuke
say he's
drop.
Chinese.
No,
Why is
because
that
he's
funny?
Malaysian.
He was born in Malaysia, but
but he's
ethnically.
ethnically Chinese.
Okay.
So me like being born in Japan but ethnically American and yes.
Sure.
Exactly. So his
Let's
Yeah.
just move on.
father is a. How long have I been
Talking
going?
about ethnicities.
Okay, I gotta start moving faster. So his father is a businessman,
You got like 5 minutes.
and he's like, there's a lot to wrap up.
Jesus Christ. You were done
right.
with your
Well, let's
notes,
just keep
though.
moving
Alright,
then. Let's just keep moving.
double
Well, the
time,
rest
double
is in
time.
my head. Okay, so his father's a businessman, and
Yes.
he like does all these sketchy things with money. So people think all of this was planned. I'll get to what was planned as I keep explaining.
Yeah.
But so Jolo, born to a very rich family in Malaysia, he's sent to the Harrow School in London, one of the most prestigious boarding high schools in London. Fucking. I don't know, a bunch of like famous people went there, like fucking Woodrow Wilson or some shit.
Ooh, nice.
But
Hate that guy.
he meets all these rich people. He like worms his way in with these rich people, and he like starts to portray himself as this like miracle worker with stocks, like investor. Then he meets all these English friends too, and a bunch of also connections that he'll use later for avoiding like whatever tax repercussions and stuff like that. Then he goes to Philadelphia to the Wharton School of Business, another really expensive school with a bunch of rich people with a bunch of money. He continues this narrative, and well, let me backtrack. Also in London, he meets Riza Aziz, who is the son of Najib Razak, who, as you may remember, Prime Minister of Malaysia. So then he becomes friends with Riza Aziz, and he goes to Philadelphia, and he invents himself as the Prince of Malaysia, which is like not true. But so yeah, he's like, I'm the Prince of Malaysia. He starts moving all these rich people's money around. He says he's a miracle worker with the investments.
Bless you.
For all those who don't know, Stan just got in this game we were playing. But,
Yoda, you don't have to tell them. Go on.
Yeah. Goddamn. So he's the Prince of Malaysia.
So he's the Prince of Malaysia. He meets all these rich people, and then eventually he goes. He also spends some time in the UAE, where he learns about fake sovereign state funds, which eventually he's going to do in Malaysia. Then, so becomes friends with Riza Aziz. Eventually, works his way into becoming friends with Najib Razak after he's gone back to Malaysia. Najib Razak's wife, whose name is Rosma Mansour, is addicted to spending, and she loves expensive things, expensive jewelry, but can't get it into Malaysia without backlash. So eventually, Najib Razak entrusts 1MDB to Jolo with the connection that Najib Razak and Rosma Mansour are cut into the nefarious goings-ons that Jolo executes. And also that Jolo uses his connections in the East Coast. Like, he went to school in Philadelphia, but he knows, like, businessmen in New York and whatnot, and in London, to smuggle in expensive jewelry, handbags, clothes for Najib Razak's shopping-addicted wife, Rosma Mansour. So eventually, he keeps partying, and he's basically just stealing all this money from 1MDB, and they already had all these systems, well, not systems, but like more lack of systems to tell where any of this money is going. So he can just basically take this money with nobody being able to tell, just put it in his bank account. And then,
What? So, wait. How is he? Why did he get MDB? 1MDB.
well, nobody really knows, but he was close friends with Riza Aziz,
Okay.
the son of Najib Razak, and he was doing these things for the Prime Minister's family,
okay.
like smuggling this money, using his connections, and like Yeah. I think
Okay.
Najib Razak wanted to feel important. And
Yeah.
this guy had all these connections. He probably portrayed them in a way that is maybe a little bit untrue, but his connections in New York to be look, I'm this powerful businessman, whatever. But so yeah, he's taking all this money, he's partying in Beverly Hills. Eventually he's like, I want to become a film producer, so he meets Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese. Yes.
What?
And so he becomes friends with them, and and they're working on a film, The Wolf of Wall Street, at the time. And so they can't get any studio to fund The Wolf of Wall Street because they need they have this crazy number in mind, $200 million budget or whatever. And then Jolo's like, I'll do it. I'll give you guys the money to make the movie, and he did. And so The Wolf of Wall Street was made with Jolo's stolen money from the Malaysian tax dollars.
Wow, that's so insane.
Which is funny because it's
Crazy
yeah.
tie bag.
I mean, it's a movie about a fraudster.
Yeah.
It is funny because in Jordan Belfort's book, The Real Guy from The Wolf of Wall Street, he mentions meeting Jolo in real life, and he
That's
says
pretty
he's
cool.
a fraudster. Yeah,
And
pretty
it's
interesting.
so crazy.
and The Irishman was originally gonna be funded by
Yeah.
Jolo, but Jolo got caught. They had to get the funding elsewhere. So I think that's why that movie was delayed a couple years or something. But yeah, eventually. Also, there's these Goldman Sachs bankers that are helping Jolo move this money in and out of America because that's where a lot of his connections are. And so they're implicated in this big scam. Two of them are thrown under the bus, but a lot of people think that there's a more major structural thing going on in Goldman Sachs with this fraud.
Yeah.
They should face more repercussions, but Goldman Sachs was just it was actually just these two dudes. Nobody else knew about it, and now they're in jail. And Jolo is still on the run. He's hiding in China, and after his money was found out, all the stolen money, he couldn't use any of it because it would be internationally flagged by Interpol or whoever.
Yeah.
So he goes to China and he does all these shady deals with the Chinese government to he starts working for the Chinese government to build these infrastructure projects abroad, but really they're just padding the budgets and stealing the money. So he thinks that he's going to repay his debt to Malaysia with this money he's stealing from China. But
Could this be
eventually,
interlaced with the Belt and Road?
that is what it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Interesting.
That's what he was up to in China. The
Yes.
Belt and Road shit.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
But so
Next
he's
podcast.
yeah, and Malaysia, and eventually in 2018, Najib Razak loses his position as prime minister. He's put in jail. He tries to flee, but they catch him.
Put in jail because of all this shit?
Yeah, because he's
Like corruption.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's corruption, bribery, all this bad shit, and then they're trying to get Jolo. The new Malaysian government is trying to, because China knows exactly where Jolo is in China, the Chinese government. He's on house arrest, but they don't want to give him up because giving up Jolo to Malaysia would implicate them in the Belt and Road shit. So it's he's kind of got some protection there, and nobody knows what he's doing. Apparently, he's been seen at parties. He's a big party guy.
He sounds sick.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I missed anything.
I think that's pretty interesting because my buddy Harry lives in Malaysia currently right now,
Oh, really?
and he's there.
Harry lives in Malaysia right now?
Yeah, he works there. He's
Yeah, he's told me
a
about
raft tour guide.
For all the
Malaysia.
listeners, Harry's full name is Harry Gay.
Yeah,
Yeah, really cool.
really cool
And
name,
he
and his parents
is-
are gay too. He's got two
Pretty
moms.
fucking sick.
He
Yeah.
is
That's
both of those
awesome.
things.
Yeah.
He
So-
is both of those things.
And he's
He is-
French.
He's French, but he
He's
lives in
from
Malaysia.
France, yeah.
He was in Singapore
more so.
recently, and he's gonna send me some
Yo, look
things
at that
from
big
Thailand
ass
pretty
fucking
soon.
spider.
Wow,
Holy
that's
shit.
awesome.
Yo,
That's a big ass spider.
Dude, wolf
Fucking hell.
spider.
For those who are listening and can't see it, there's a big spider.
this shit's the size of a
Editor-
$50.
That thing's sick.
Editor, put a picture of that spider up.
Yes, Gordy.
Gordy, throw a picture of that spider up.
By the way, for those who don't know, Gordy's the editor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There you go.
Speaking of
Once
Leonardo
upon a time
DiCaprio.
in Hollywood,
huh?
reference
yeah.
right there.
Yep. Hey.
But yeah, apparently Leo DiCaprio.
Gus knows it personally.
They say he didn't technically do anything illegal, but Jolo fucking gifted him a Picasso painting. And it's like,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
We all know
That's
his ass
so
was on the
crazy.
Diddy Island.
it's like he definitely knew this money was illegal or illicit in some way, but
Yeah.
He's
I
a
guess
piece of
technically
shit.
he didn't do anything illegal.
Yeah.
He is a piece of shit.
I would take that. I would do
Picasso.
the same shit
I
if I was.
I would take the Picasso.
That shit's cool. DiCaprio was a piece of shit.
Yes.
That's very interesting stuff, Gus. Do you have anything more to add?
Oh, he's really close friends with Swiss Beats.
Who's that?
Musician. He's Swiss Beats.
J-Lo
Does he
is-
make beats?
Sorry, J-Lo. J-Lo.
I'd say don't be confused with J-Lo.
Yeah,
We
don't
made that
do
clear.
that. My bad.
Yeah,
my
we
bad.
know that.
Not
Fair.
Jennifer
But yeah, I
Lawrence.
think that's all.
She's
Very nice,
bad.
Gus. Very interesting.
Any questions?
Well, I don't know what the Belton whatever thing is.
That's just like China's
that
plan
important?
to like exert not power but economic power over like parts of the world where like the U.S. has in quotes neglected. Like they're
Like Africa,
Yeah.
Southern Asia.
they like invest in like infrastructure projects and like bring out these like hefty loans to like nations that are like underdeveloped in quotes.
And Malaysia was a big one. That
Yeah.
They were doing projects in,
They would,
which
like,
is why Joe
And it's a big part of it is to like rebuild like the Silk Road, like a big trade route to like Europe and like
But
Asia
it's
and
kind of
stuff like that.
sketchy, especially
Yeah.
with like what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
With these kind of like embezzlement schemes.
Well, yeah, and where are these people right now? He's still in house arrest in China.
Jolo is still in house arrest in China, which we assume just means like he's just living his life in China.
Yeah,
he's just
But
living
a
in
couple
China.
people in China have been convicted by the CCP for these Belt and Road scams.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Because they hurt the CCP as well,
Uh-huh.
but it makes the CCP look bad if they
Yeah,
are
it's
caught.
kind of like
It's very like they kind of pick and choose who they're going to prosecute for this.
yeah.
Depending
So it's
on how
like if they
involved
give
they
up
are.
J-Lo, like
That would put so much scrutiny under the.
You
If they
You
give
call
up
him
J-Lo,
J-Lo. For those listening, do not get it confused with J-Lo.
if they like who know, because he would be responding to these Malaysian courts, and it's like who knows what he could say, like uncovering a bunch of
Could be
shady
like-
actors
yeah.
in the CCP, you know,
Could
with
like,
his Belt and Road.
which could put heavy scrutiny on the Belt and Road Initiative, which would like completely fuck up like BRICS and like this whole
Yeah.
plan for the future that China has.
May I also add that if the listeners,
Yeah, sure.
if the listeners don't know, and if you guys don't know, there's a picture on JLo's Instagram where there's like a fucking terrifying face in the background.
Yes, that's true.
And,
That's very true.
and she deletes all the comments if you talk about this terrifying face in the window.
That's true.
This is
This is true.
This
This is
has
actually
nothing-
true.
This has this
This
is very
is your topic?
this is real shit.
No.
I
could
can't.
be.
I couldn't talk about this for more than a
Couldn't
couple
fucking be.
minutes, just because there's nothing really there. But
Well,
You know.
Gus went way over on time,
Yeah.
so this is we'll count this
Sorry,
as your
guys.
topic for now.
no, I
Unless
do
you-
actually.
Oh, you have
I have a pretty good topic actually.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Well, I want to hear about this.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
Are we
those of
going
you-
into
Yeah.
Province's talking?
Yeah,
For
look
those-
over.
for those of you who don't know, there is a man at large that went by the name Master, the Master, on like gore websites. He posts custom content, his own content, and nobody calls him the Master. They call him Dr. Gloves
Wow.
because
Well, but his
This
real
is
name
weird.
is Master.
That's his
well,
real name.
nobody knows his real name. Let me get to this. I'll get to this
Let me
later
just
on.
say this.
Yes, people call him Dr. Gloves because he wears gloves in.
Pass him a beer, please.
Please.
He wears yes, beer time.
If you're listening, we're drinking beers.
We're getting fucked up.
If you're listening.
We're gonna get hammered and we're just gonna have fun,
listening,
guys.
yeah.
If you're listening.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Anyways, Dr. Gloves was a guy who posted he posted his own homemade content on like gore websites. I'm pretty sure it's either 4chan or Best Gore or whatever. But yeah, he would like. Nobody knows where these pictures were taken. Well, let me get to this later on. We might. Yeah, but he wore these. He wore gloves that were for doctors, and he would basically
Like
like
blue latex gloves.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, like they're
And,
more
like,
specifically.
They're
like,
always blue.
well, they had like numbers on them that doctors wear, and you could tell they're like for
Oh.
doctors. They're too small for him, to cover up his identity and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he would take pictures with like baby fetuses, baby organs, kind of treating
wow.
them like puppets and
Yeah.
shit, and really fucked
It's
up,
insane.
very fucked up,
Yeah,
and he would take pictures with medically vulnerable children that were like, you know, on tubes, you know, like they couldn't fucking breathe on their own. He would fucking like put his fingers over their noses and shit.
What?
Very
It's
fuck up.
pretty crazy stuff.
Wait,
And-
like, the photos are taken from within a hospital?
That yes.
Yes.
I'll get to that. Yeah, and there's another. The final set of images was with an unknown girl that may have been in a house because it might have been his daughter. You know, who knows? But yeah, like the way they've been they've identified him was these blankets that were in the pictures, and they're only at this specific hospital in San Bernardino, California. It's like these like orange elephants with like stars on it. They're orange, and they're only in this hospital. So they've like kind of pinpointed that. And yeah, like he wore this like weird, really strange like custom latex mask as well. That was kind of identifiable. Well, we don't know. Like nobody knows.
See pictures of his face with a mask on.
Well, you can't see pictures of his face, but you can see like, you know, like he's in the
You can
picture.
see him.
Like his his entire body's in the picture. He has a fucking insane latex mask on.
Huh.
But yeah, he would like fucking take pictures with these medically vulnerable children. And yeah, like it's really fucking scary.
That is
I guess.
actually terrifying. They found him,
And no, they haven't found
He's
him.
at large.
The thing is though,
but they identified it.
there was
They're
rumors where
Yes, they're
people
trying to.
there was rumors where people would talk about like how the FBI wasn't looking into it or anything, and that the FBI like kind of ignored people, which is not true. Nobody just contacted them about it, and they've executed 12, maybe a little over a dozen search warrants pertaining to this guy. And as far as we know, we don't know who he is, but in one of the pictures they have his ID, and it says Edvin Valians, which is a real guy who works at this San Bernardino hospital, but it wasn't him. Like they figured that out, and they were, you know, people were sending death threats and
Holy
all
shit.
sorts of bad shit, and yeah, and like and there's a laptop in one of the pictures that was created in 2014. So people are thinking, you know, like 2015, 2016, up to 2018, when these pictures were created.
Wow.
And yeah, he's fucking still at large, and you know, nobody really knows who he is.
It's insane.
Police might have him. He might already be in custody for something else.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows.
But he was a doctor.
Nobody knows that either.
Nobody
well,
knows that either.
they think that
He
the
worked at
first
the
series of
hospital.
pictures were in the basement of this hospital.
Mm.
The hospital. Oh, this is really fucking interesting. The hospital declined, or they say that all this shit never happened in their hospital, and there was actually a promotional video that included some of these medically vulnerable children, and in this video, sorry, I just fucking said that. It includes these children.
Yeah.
And they actually recreated the video 2 years ago to disclude these children, and they're trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
It's really fucking strange.
The hospital.
The hospital is
yeah.
trying to cover it up. And
I wonder if they just don't want like that kind. It's probably just because they don't want like the press or like people talking about that hospital specifically.
I think they're also like, they don't want to accept the fact that somebody just got in there and was able to do that shit with these bodies and these medically vulnerable children. But yeah, the reason people think the last little girl in the series of pictures was his daughter is because in the background there's like these they're called, I think they're like not lever switches. It's like a type of light switch that's like only really in houses and offices, and they think that, you know, it was like only at they think that it was like his daughter because of that. And dude, it's there's so much more to this. It's fucking crazy. I really didn't study that much, but
Yeah.
How'd you find out about this?
dude, it was like this internet mystery iceberg that I like. I don't know. I just like fucking
Yeah.
listen to this shit when I go to like as I fall asleep. Just like random bullshit on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I was like fucking drifting asleep, and I was like, what the fuck? I was invested. You know, this shit's crazy.
I
The
think
fact
it's
that
worth-
he's still at large is insane.
I think it's worth noting that you told me a lot about this when you first heard about it, And there's a website that has like a lot more information.
Yeah, who is
on it.
drgloves.com?
Yeah, it
Oh,
has like
shit.
everything that's been like that's known so far, basically.
Yeah.
And like we do know that the FBI is looking into it. We don't know how much they know. Of
Yeah.
course.
Wow.
They
How
might
do
have
they
made
know
an
that?
arrest already.
They
We don't
could have
know.
like caught him, and
Yeah.
they just didn't make it public.
But how do they know that the FBI is looking into it?
Because they have been tipped off.
This
and
guy,
they said that there is an investigation.
this other podcaster was like really pushing for this case to like be fucking known to the law enforcement, and he like was in contact with like this specific detective that anyone can contact if you know anything. But
Who's the other podcaster?
fuck. What's his name, dude?
I was
But
just
he's
gonna give him a
working.
shout
The
out.
website is made by this company called Reach Freaks, and that's like the company that made the website,
Oh,
or like
okay.
helped them make the website.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to look up Reach Freaks. you
Yeah,
can find
shout
them.
out Reach Freaks. Go check.
There's
them,
some goats
go check
for
them
what
out.
they
Yeah.
did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, catch this motherfucker.
Yeah, interesting. That was a good topic.
Yeah.
It prompts too. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I've been heavily invested in this shit.
Really?
It's pretty interesting.
Like I check like constantly on the internet to see if like just if anyone's talking about it.
Yeah. That's wild.
You know,
and when
people
you
are-
said it
Oh, yeah,
started in
and-
2015.
Yeah, it could have started in 2014.
Wow.
That was like the earliest, like 2013, 2014 was the earliest it could have started. And I actually recently came across this subreddit called Internet Mysteries, and this guy apparently was in contact with Dr. Gloves during that era. And
Wow.
like he apparently has seen pictures that like nobody else has ever seen. And nothing like terrible, but like same style pictures. Like like baby organs and baby fetuses, like bodies and shit. And him like fucking posing them as puppets and shit. It's really fucking freaky.
Fucking wild, yeah.
It's-
I don't know. I personally don't think it's as disturbing as the children, like the medically vulnerable children.
Yeah,
the reason,
all
the fact that he has
insane. Like, I
access to
can't
these
believe-
children
Yeah.
kind of says something. It says that like
Yeah.
there's no way you can just get to them without.
You've got
like,
more clearance than
exactly.
than just like somebody who's like a. Because like some of the original pictures where it was like just gore, it's like you could be like medical cleanup.
Yeah.
Like you could be like cleaning things in like a hospital where
And
you will see something
people
horrible.
people thought that it was like a baby mortician, but that's not a real job. Morticians are morticians. They
Yeah, you will have
Baby
everything.
they will they'll burn.
I mean, like you
anybody.
could be like just posting the infant ones, but
Yeah.
oh, that's a really good topic though. I think
Yeah, that's good.
it'd be a good time to have you come back on another episode with a fully
Yeah.
developed version.
Yeah,
of
I
that.
could.
Dude, fuck it.
And
But we're
especially
not
if things
supposed to know.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I'll bust it.
But
out.
we wouldn't even know that you're gonna come back and do that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
I'll bust it out.
that's
at
why it's just
random.
merely a hint.
Yes. That's a little a teaser
Little teaser.
for you podcast listeners who may be fans.
And
or
well,
at
something
this
to
point.
look forward to.
Hey,
Yes.
there you go.
Hey.
Could be season 2. You know, who knows?
Hey.
Thank you,
Hey,
Bruhmus.
Yeah.
Very good topic.
Good work.
All right.
Eli, you want to talk about what you've been researching?
Shit. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, whatever that is, it's gone.
Where's my? Where did it go? I'm gonna need that.
Yeah, whatever that went, it's gone.
It's gone as fuck. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
I don't even know what it was.
It was an eraser. Well, anyhow. So my topic was Jimbo. Really good friend of ours, supporter of the podcast. I texted him a week ago today and asked him if I could do an interview with him.
Oh wait. Can I
Oh,
can
yeah,
I
yeah,
interject?
yeah.
So on the website, no fucking way. It says solved.
Whoa! Live update.
Way.
I haven't checked this website in a couple weeks just
This
because.
is huge.
They got him.
Oh fuck!
Wow.
Hold up. Update. Actually, the fucking 31st of July, so about a week ago, says based upon our
Schmurda.
exhaustive
Yes.
Oh my god. About a week ago. Hey, free podcast listeners. Yes.
Hey.
All right. I'll read it out to you.
Target
Based
audience.
upon our exhaustive investigation, we were able to definitively confirm that the photographs depicted in series 2 and 4, the morgue and labor delivery ward, and 6, the children subacute center, were taken on at least 2 Dignity Health Hospital campuses, and these are the campuses in San Bernardino, California. And it says, according to law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation, the individual appearing in some of these images is not believed to have been a direct employee of Dignity Health. This assessment was reportedly supported by a review of employment records and search warrant returns. It remains unclear whether the person may have had access to the facilities through a third-party service, provider, e.g. security, custodial, or patient transport, although no such affiliation has been publicly confirmed. How Dr. Gloves gained access to multiple secure locations remains one of the principal mysteries of the case.
I thought it was solved.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well,
one
it's
sec.
just
There's a
saying,
little
like,
bit
how
more.
we got there.
With the support of the Invisible Choir listener community, that's the podcaster, Invisible Choir.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out
Yeah,
them.
shout out
They're some cool guys.
Good work, actually.
Yeah,
Open source
seriously.
researchers and cooperating members of law enforcement. Several images from the so-called Dr. Gloves photo series have been identified as unrelated to the central investigation into alleged abuse and exploitation. So, copycat, or maybe the original guy posting some shit to, stir the pot, keep it,
Lively.
Keep it interesting.
Yeah.
keep it interesting or try to get some shit off his tail,
Yeah.
Some were determined to originate from legitimate clinical or forensic educational contexts. Specifically, you guys can't see the picture, so I'm not going to read this part. Let me see. One of law enforcement's primary unresolved questions has been how the individual, Dr. Gloves, may have accessed the initially appeared to be infant human organs, particularly the brains depicted in the photographs, without detection by medical facility staff or through standard autopsy protocols. So they don't think he was part of this shit. They don't think he was part of the hospital. So yeah, that gives some
insane,
explanation to the hospital trying to keep it off their back. I don't know why they would re-record it though. It makes sense, I guess, because it's part of the investigation. They want to keep these children out of it. Some of the organs in Series 1 are not human, but rather animal specimens. Wow. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
It connotates to them being
But
human.
so they caught him.
Yeah,
then,
is
huh?
it caught?
Oh, let me see. I'm trying to see this. So it says they have confirmed that the morgue was on the Dignity Health campus located in San Bernardino. We have meticulously... Okay, this might be the part where it says who he is. We've meticulously analyzed every image in the series, cataloging the specific brands and types of gloves, clothing, and other distinguishing details present in these disturbing photographs. While we initially sought public assistance in identifying the individual behind the mask, we can now confirm that the person now known online as Dr. Gloves has been definitely identified. With this confirmation, the remaining focus of our investigation centers on tracing the exact locations where the images have been taken and establishing how the individual gained access to the restricted medical spaces. Wow. So it says they have identified him. I don't think they'd say his name. Holy shit. But yeah, normally at the top, the last fucking year and a half, it said, yeah, we've identified this specific cart in one of the the morgue pictures, because they needed to fucking find anything. But now it says, yeah, we've successfully identified the location and also definitely identified the individual known as Dr. Gloves. Wow.
Well, there we go.
Shit.
Fuck,
Nice
dude.
little
Yeah.
update to have, truly.
Yeah,
That's
no,
actually
happy
insane.
ending,
But is he arrested?
It doesn't say. It just says they have identified him.
Well, we were saying that a lot of the
Yeah.
pictures were medical, teaching pictures, and some of them weren't even human remains.
Here, I can show you guys a picture of them. None of them actually show the fucked up shit.
Gordy, throw a picture of Dr. Gloves up on the screen.
Yes, Gordy. Yes.
Him in the latex mask or whatever.
Yeah, it's fucking freaky. He looks like an
pretty
actual
scary.
he looks like a villain.
It's insane.
Here, but I'll give you guys a little demonstration.
Well, that's very interesting to have a nice,
Yeah, I'm gonna look
Yeah,
at the Invisible Choir thing later.
very good topic to have, just impromptu.
Dude, yeah.
Here, let me see if I can find a picture of this terrifying man.
Is it Fletcher?
I guess this
Is it Crash here?
can kind of shows him.
Is that one of those? Is Tommy there too? You just can't
Insane.
hear.
That's what he looks like.
Jesus Christ.
Isn't that fucking terrifying?
Yeah, and he's holding probably something horrible.
Yeah, those are brains. They think they don't think they're they're not human brains.
They're like, yeah, okay.
But he was connotating
the
to them
time.
being human brains. That's what everyone thought at the time. You know,
At the
that's
time it
in
was
fucking
posted
holding the brain
in the
and
context of
stem.
it being
Or
like
that
a-
might not be the. I think that's like an organ.
It's
It's fucking terrible. It's honestly terrible.
But what about that kid? It's like he was still like.
Oh yeah. This is the one with the little girl. They blacked out like everything that isn't the girl. Or that is the
Christ.
girl. And like that's the shirt she was wearing, trying to
Yeah.
identify that shit. Like they just really have
God.
gone into insane detail with this, like trying to fucking locate this piece of shit.
But like he did, even if the organs weren't real, like
Oh no,
still
some of
he's
them were.
committing crimes.
A lot of them
Yeah.
were, but some of them weren't.
Yeah.
Like it says, like, you know, on a couple of these, it shows like debunked. Like these aren't part of the. This is just him, you know, taking pictures from third sources.
Just like, yeah, posts that were made.
Yes.
Interesting stuff, really.
And you know, this is the medically vulnerable children. Like he covers their faces and shit. Like
My
it blacks
God.
out all the kids, thankfully. But
But
like
these
yeah,
were originally posted uncensored.
yes,
Yeah.
and like. You know, him covering their fucking nose and shit.
Jesus
Piece of shit.
Christ,
And
yeah.
the thumbs up, that's like one of his things.
Yeah.
Fucking covering.
No, we're still going.
Why didn't you answer
We
my
got
text?
two topics down so far.
What were the topics? You have your notebook out?
Is it funny when
Yeah,
I
I
spam
took notes.
people like
Nice.
that?
What were
Yeah.
you guys talking about?
Well, we're you'll hear.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, I mean, you'll hear. If you,
Yeah, you'll hear
We'll
when
post
you
it.
tune in.
Hopefully, we'll post it tomorrow.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Well, a lot of different things.
This podcast?
What's this?
This was
podcast
Dr.
called?
Gloves. That was his. It's called
Why
the Thinking
so serious?
Capsule.
Oh yeah,
The
here's a
Thinking
better
Podcast.
picture of him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, if you guys ever
Eli.
want to guess.
I want to hear it on my drive home.
That's
so
a picture
hopefully
of
it's
him.
in.
The hospital looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
fucking Silent
It's
Hill world.
it's terrible.
pretty small.
But that it was like in one of the unused rooms. That's why I was able to get away with it.
I think we should.
Just figured it was a good time.
Eli.
I
Hang
think,
out
we should,
tomorrow night? Can you?
Yeah.
I think we should go into Eli's topic now.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
before
yeah,
that,
sorry.
can I show Eli a better picture? That's like
Jesus.
like actually fucking terrifying.
He's so
Bruhmus,
fucking scared.
fake, bro.
Dr.
Fuck
Gloves.
you.
Yeah, the whole thing was a
Dude,
hoax.
some guy told me my freshman year that like having a sign like that is a felony.
It is.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, sure.
And
But, I mean,
for
that's-
the viewers who are
For the
listening,
viewers knowing we don't
No,
have a
no,
sign.
for the viewers listening, there's nothing in here that's
Illegal.
that's a felony.
So like I saw this werewolf.
Okay, we're,
Let's keep going with
so
Eli's
let's hear
topic.
let's hear
So I
Eli's
saw a
topic.
werewolf the other
all right,
day.
listeners,
Who's listening to
Elijah
42 minutes of
Waitfeld
this
is starting
shit?
his topic.
Well,
Eli.
Gus went way over on time. So
All right, so let's hear
It was
Eli's
kinda
topic.
Gus's.
anyhow, yeah, my
The
topic
time
is.
it's a mere construct.
Let's just hear Eli's topic.
Yeah, so my topic was our good friend Jimbo.
No.
He's a part of the bands Via Ferrata and Satsuma.
It's like a jungle gym.
He's he's an accomplished musician here in Kalamazoo or whatever. Friday I texted him. I just haven't seen him in forever, which is why I was like, I needed a topic, and so I was like, I'll just go hang out with Jimbo and then interview him the whole time and ask him about his entire life story. And it worked out. So I saw him on Sunday morning, sat down with him for a while, and I gave him a Bucked Up energy drink. Bucked Up, sponsor us.
Zoa.
Please.
Just like this is important, you know, they have Zoa. We need one.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we need at least.
Let's
a
get bucked up.
Bucked Up. Yes, please sponsor us
If you're listening.
if you're listening. So I get there, and he starts making me a sandwich. He made me a sandwich that was really cool.
What was on it?
Breakfast. It was his dad's recipe. He said that a couple of times. It's like it was just like eggs and cheese, and he put some like jam on it and some really yummy bread. That's pretty much all.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it was great. So we just sat down and had a little interview. First thing he fucking said to me, wait, I'm gonna pull up like a bunch of clips of shit that he was saying during the interview, because he sounded like he was losing his mind. Like immediately.
When Eli first opened his phone, it was Hinge, by the way.
No.
Yeah, it was.
For viewers who
For those who are
can't
like
see,
trying to watch. But,
Eli's on his phone talking to bad bitches.
yeah.
Yeah.
Immediately starts talking about like implements and things and
Imagine how, like, I spent like 6 hours last night just trying to get like a network to communicate data from my phone to my computer. And I just like was trying out all these different protocols. I downloaded all these other external tools to help with
Yeah, so all these protocols.
I was like, what have you been up to? And then he starts saying all this stuff.
Fuck.
Yeah, and that's all like that has to do with some newer stuff that he's getting into. He's making a ballet soon, I guess, and it's gonna be like the movements that you're making. You can dance and make music, and so that like that has to translate to like a device that would make music every time that you like move and shit like that, like a theremin almost. Yeah, except like way more fucking
But
complicated.
really big.
Yeah, except on a bigger scale,
Like a
basically,
motion
and like
capture
everything,
theremin.
every dance move that you're doing. He says he's like emailing random like professionals, like anybody he can find, just trying to get answers to it. He's talking about going to school for it, maybe even.
Wow.
Yeah, like really, just and it sounds really fucking cool. Like genuinely, it sounds really cool. And then after that, like further proof that he's losing his fucking mind. He hands me like this little bottle of his previous tenant's teeth. Like all of her baby teeth, and I didn't know what it was.
Why did he have that?
I guess they left it there or something. Just like a little jar of baby teeth and stuff. And then I got into the interview. I just sat down with him. I was at his piano and he was sitting on the couch. Because all that's the recording I played earlier was candid. He didn't know I was recording at the time.
Chat, is this legal?
That's legal. If you're a part of the conversation, then you're legally
Yes.
allowed to record it.
For those listening, Jimbo, actually, we asked him to be our first guest today,
Yeah.
which could have been interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure
Michigan's a
he would have had a
one-party
cool.
state.
What?
Michigan's a one-party state for recording. Only one person has to record.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I just found that out not too long ago,
Yeah,
but it's good to know. So then I got into it. I started asking him questions about where was he born, the very beginning. He's born he was born in Lansing, even though his parents lived in Kalamazoo at the time, which I didn't know. His mom lived in the Edison neighborhood, like kind of by Fulford Street, like where Caden's house is, like right
For
off
those who don't know,
Portage
Caden's our
Road.
friend.
Caden's another one of our friends, yes.
For those who are listening.
Yeah, so it's kind of by Fulford Street, like off of Portage Road sort of area. He said it was a really nice area or whatever, but didn't really grow up there. They moved around a lot. He said like ultimately like his childhood home is like more off of Oakland, like southeast or southwest.
Hillenbrook.
Yeah, the Hillenbrook sort of neighborhood, like off of Angling and Oakland and shit like that. That's like his childhood home sort of thing. But like the important part with where he was living was that put him in Portage public schools rather than Kalamazoo public schools. So because he was like just outside of the border of Kalamazoo there. Which he said was like super formative, or whatever, growing up and whatnot. And it was just like a lot of going to the Portage schools or whatever, it was mostly like lower middle class, middle to lower middle class kids, and then like some like really just fucking rich kids and stuff. And he was like kind of the more liberal kid at a more conservative sort of school and shit. And he said specifically, I'll pull up exactly what he was saying.
I remember because I was like the libtard on the school bus.
He was the libtard on the school bus, you know.
Yeah, facts.
He told me a story that I thought was really fucking funny. Where he apparently you know, there's this one kid, we think his name's Logan, not entirely sure. Fucking though. And on the school bus, if he saw a black person at all, he'd roll down the window and yell a racial slur at them.
Wow.
Which is fucking insane. And then Jimbo would obviously get up and be like, actually, don't do that, you know. And then he'd get clowned for it or something. He specifically said, which I don't know if these things are super, super important to him, but I thought it was interesting that he brought this up. He was like, I was the one kid that was really into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and punk rock, and everybody else wasn't. And I asked him about that. I was like, what the fuck, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, really? And he was like, yeah, he read all of his books or whatever, specifically Writings on the Wall by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and whatever the other guy's name was. That one was a really radicalizing moment for him when he was reading that, you know.
I'm just curious because you also went to Portage Public Schools.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did your experience differ?
I mean, yeah, we were kind of both just agreeing and talking about that sort of thing, of how it's just kind of a lot of just stuck up rich kids, I feel you know, the whole time. Kind of talking about how how different that experience is growing up and stuff, with just less sensitive school, I guess. People just saying crazy racist things and whatnot, not thinking it's a problem. But yeah, and then he was talking about how you know, he's reading that book at the time, and that was just so huge for him as a fucking 8-year-old, you know. And he also said it was really CNN coded. So it was and it even had it recommended CNN fact checkers and things like that throughout the book. And that was just pointing him more towards CNN and shit like that or whatever. And that's obviously, you know, when the brainwashing started for him, because now he's watching CNN. Then as for the he was saying, he was at that time, because he read that book, the main thing on this 8-year-old's mind was the biggest problem right now is the Muslims are going to be persecuted, and he was oh no. So that was the thing that he was really drawn to at the time. He was really worried about Muslims, which was cool. And then, yeah, you just got really, really into Islam and stuff like that. And then the other thing that he was into, the punk rock or whatever, which he said is also super, super important for his life just in general, because the rest of the time pretty much we talked about music and shit like that, because that's what he's been doing his whole life. His earliest introductions to music were his mom was really into reggae and gangster rap, he said, and his dad was into more classic rock and punk rock sort of things. He told me he remembers you know, just getting fucking hype when Foo Fighters comes on the radio as a little kid and stuff like that. And I thought that this was really cool too. The first music that he found on his own, outside of his parents' influences, was Green Day. So he's just a fucking libtard blasting Green Day all fucking day, basically. And then I was asking him more about his, you know, his music career and stuff like that. And why he got into music and where that started and things like that. And he said even like from the ages of like 3 to 4, like as early as he can remember, like he wanted to make songs, like he's like knows that he's doing music in his future sort of thing. And the first like moment for him, I guess, was like just seeing his dad like on the drums. Like his dad had a drum set at like that first house that they were living at and stuff, and just thinking like, this shit's fucking awesome. And like my dad's cool, he plays the drums kind of, like I gotta play the drums. But for a long time he was like, you know, they were in between houses and things like that. He lived in some apartments and things, and then eventually got into that house that he called his childhood home, which I think we know is like the Jimbo house, where like he lived with his parents,
Yes.
off Angling Road and that sort of area.
No need to dox him. Jeez.
And well, I mean,
Listeners, we don't live...
he doesn't live there now.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter.
Sorry.
But yeah, so like when they were in apartments.
I'm sorry.
Listen.
Bruhmus is sorry.
Bruhmus is sorry. Yeah, so you know, when they were in the apartments, like he didn't have access to the drums, like they had to store them somewhere, they didn't have any room for them. And then eventually gets in this house where, you know, he has access to the drums. By the age of 7, like he's practicing drums literally every day in his basement. And then also like finally, eventually like started venturing more in. Good for the listeners. Bruhmus is holding up hand signs and saying 6'7" to me.
For all those who are listening.
It's,
yeah,
for all those who are listening, also that it is funny.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so and then he starts getting into playing guitar too and things like that. Which, you know, practicing instruments was also like a huge thing for him, discovering more music and listening to other things and whatnot, trying to find like drum forward music. And then when Gordy comes in, the other member of Via Ferrata, which this is actually like a really important moment. So he was enrolled at like the age of 7-ish to the Kalamazoo Academy of Rock program. And he's in this thing, and Gordy was one of the director's like piano students or something. And he said specifically, you know, they didn't really talk much or anything at first, didn't really know each other. And his description of Gordy was absolutely insane.
Younger than me. I remember like really young gay Gordy with like fucked up teeth and kind of a shitty fade.
Yeah, so we all remember this.
So that's his description of Gordy meeting him originally. Like he came in, and you know he's young gay Gordy with fucked up teeth and a shitty fade, and he's wearing like Aretha Franklin shirts and shit like that, and like suggesting that the band play like Radiohead deep cuts and shit. As an 8-year-old, you know, or a 7-year-old.
He was not that young.
And then there. And then the moment where like him and Gordy, like, you know, they had their moment and they're like, we're gonna be friends basically, is when they performed this song Life During Wartime by the Talking Heads. You know, they were doing that in a show or whatever, and Gordy had a solo at the end on the piano, on the organ. And the two of them, you know, for this solo, he said this solo lasted probably like 5 minutes. And it wasn't even supposed to be that long, and they just like improvised and like freestyled like that or whatever, to the point where everybody else was like, I can't wait for this to be over. And the rest of the band gave up on playing with them kind of, and like people were like kind of pissed off. There wasn't really a lot of like applause after the solo or anything.
It's
Like nobody was
hilarious.
like, "Yo!" But him and Gordy both got up and they were like, "Yo, that was awesome!" And they were like really excited about it and stuff. You know, like having this moment to improvise and be vulnerable like that or whatever.
Is this the podcast stuff?
No, we're still going.
Okay, I gotta peace out.
Oh, all right.
I'll
see you
see you guys
next week.
tomorrow then, yeah.
Alright, so Crash, for all those
Yeah,
who are
thanks.
listening,
It's a
Crash is
cigarette.
leaving.
Oh, is
Don't
this,
get,
it's a
don't get
cigarette.
fooled.
Is
Don't
this
get fooled
true?
again. Yeah.
It's a cigarette.
oh, I'm alright, thanks.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm off the cigs, man.
Oh shit.
I'm on the Zins though.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, for all you listeners, Crash is on the Zins.
Crash is on the Zin.
I'm
What
on the
flavor?
Zins.
We're
Winter
live.
green.
Winter green.
Did anyone
the best-
like one?
That's give me one. Give me one.
Yeah.
Winter green is my favorite flavor.
They're so good.
Winter green is the best. Classic
And,
staple of the Thomas household.
I'd just like to say, for all those who are listening, me and Stan are
you.
sitting in
Yeah.
really small chairs.
we are.
Bruhmus is sitting on a log.
Winter green is.
Winter green's great.
Winter
My
green
my
tasty.
coworker, the fucking like marketing guy, he handed me a Grizzly.
Grizzlies are gnarly, dude.
They're
Grizzlies
great.
are gnarly.
They're great.
I
Felt like my
like 'em.
first kiss.
I like them.
Anyway, well, I'll peace out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Dude, I'll be here tomorrow, man.
Bye bye.
See you, Crash.
See ya.
For all you listeners,
Bye.
Crash just left.
See ya.
Sorry, I couldn't hang out more.
No, that's okay. Did you touch base with left or right?
Winter green is my favorite Zen flavor for those who are listening.
Yes.
Out of all the flavors, I'll pick winter green out of every single flavor. every
Listeners, Stan likes winter green.
time. I took a Zen from Caleb today at work, and it tasted like Orange Julius.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was very yummy.
Bye, buddy.
Not
See you
sure what
tomorrow.
the flavor was, but it was delicious.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, I had to piss.
For all you listeners, Eli's back, and he's gonna talk.
So,
He's gonna
Gordy.
talk his shit.
Yes, I'm talking about Gordy and Jimbo. So, Gordy and Jimbo have this moment. They're doing improv music, and like right when I got there, we kind of started talking about improv music a little bit, and I kind of knew that we'd have like a long conversation about that, which was super interesting. They're about like 12 now or something, and they're trying to make other bands. They're trying to include people, like make a big band and stuff like that, and other people can't do it, or like things fall out, and it just doesn't work out and stuff like that, and it always just ends up being Gordy and Jimbo. And one of those bands that they created with somebody, this person's name is August, who they're still friends with.
Adams.
I don't know what his last
To
name
be
is.
confused with me.
Yes, I'm not August Crothers. It's a different August, not August, Adams.
August Adams.
No, but a different August, apparently.
Oh.
And this guy, I guess, was really into climbing. And there's this thing.
Not to confuse with August Crothers still.
Yes.
There's this thing, right, that was in Italy or whatever. The Italian government made this thing where they put bars into the side of a mountain so people could climb it easier. And that was called Via Ferrata. And the guy that was really into climbing, August, was like, hey, what if we named it Via Ferrata? And they were like, yeah, cool. And then, things didn't work out with this person or whatever, but they were still making music, so they were like, yeah, I guess we're just Via Ferrata now. So somebody else named that band for them.
I'd just like to add, originally
Yeah.
they were called Duo Trio, and actually
Yes.
under that name they actually did a deal with Burger King, and they got a meal.
Yeah, the duo trio meal.
Oh, yeah.
May have you
So
have
shout
seen
out,
that
you
on
guys can
signs.
go get that today or tomorrow, but
Yes.
Shout out Burger King for being a sponsor for this episode.
Yes. Shout out
Yes.
Burger King. Sponsor us. The Fuego meal was Fuego.
We are all holding
That's
Whoppers.
There is
Yeah.
a sign outside
Yeah,
the house
Wendy's.
currently.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's actually Wendy's, but Wendy's sponsor us too.
yes. And actually Glorilla check out meal.
Yeah, and Glorilla sponsor
Check
us.
your DMs, Glorilla. We'd like to make you an offer.
We have messages.
Checkers
Glorilla-
DMs
Glorilla-
are filled with Glorilla, and we want to get sponsored.
You can Glorilla, if you're listening, come on the pod.
We would love to have you as a guest, Glow.
Rilla.
Rilla.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Glorilla, your meal was great.
So then it's Via Ferrata. They became Via Ferrata. They're doing their own thing now. After they realized they could improv like that at Kalamazoo, the Academy of Rock program, and they're out of that now. They're in high school and they're just jamming and stuff and making music. And eventually in 2020, the first full-length Via Ferrata album comes out. Jimbo talks about remembering this is the album Object, he just remembers, he says, facing opposite corners of his room with Gordy on an old fucked up synth kind of playing through a PA system or something, and he's doing it on the drums facing the other corner. And they just played for hours and hours, same sort of thing, that improv music and whatnot. I'll wrap it up kind of. But, just playing this improv music with Gordy for hours until his dad had to pick him up or whatever. That album comes out and they're doing a bunch of shows and shit now. Making this improv music, and it ends up being hard for them to play it sort of in a more public party setting where everybody's drunk and stuff, because he talked a lot about this kind of style of improv music being super vulnerable, where he doesn't have anything prepared and he's just trying to have this conversation, listening to Gordy and stuff and hearing what he has to play, and then flowing with that in whatever way he can or whatever. And just not being able to fully get into that and put on the best performance or anything, or being able to communicate really well if he's in a party setting and whatnot. So just doing a lot of that, and then ends up now he's in a band called Satsuma that started about 2 years ago, or a year ago or something, and that one, none of that is improvised music, but I know that that sort of thing is super important to him, improvised music and stuff like that. And now he's working on this ballet, so that other people can, trying to make things more inclusive and whatnot for everybody else, so that he can get volunteers, just anybody that wants to goes up and does a dance and they make music with it, and they can be this big interactive thing for everyone and whatnot. And he's cooking.
That's interesting.
Making music, yeah.
Yeah, that's. I didn't know that. That's sweet. The
I
ballet
feel
stuff.
that ballet, it kind of reminds me of this shit I was doing Sam had some sort of bullshit. He was doing this internship with these two artists, and they had this theatrical work where the crowd was actually the performers, and you put in these earbuds, they'd give you your lines, and you would say that.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It sounds insane, and I feel it's probably maybe at least a year out. I didn't really ask specifics about it, but he said that it's gonna take a long time. He said he might have to go to school for it, which would be insane. Yeah,
That'd be sweet.
Very interesting.
Yeah, Jimbo. Great topic.
Fucking Jimbo. Yeah. Shout out Jimbo, man.
Actually, shout out Jimbo.
Check out Via Ferrata if you're listening to this. They make really awesome music.
And check out Satsuma as well.
Yeah, check out Satsuma.
Check out the ballet.
Sometimes Jimbo performs with Wowza as well.
Yeah.
which is very interesting, and Hayne Turner.
Yes.
I've seen him work for them as well.
Yeah.
So Jimbo, if you're listening, come on the pod. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, dude. It was good to see you at work today too.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, buddy.
Yeah.
I gave you, just so you know, I gave you a little bit of extra bread because that's really all I can be able to get you for free.
Yeah, fucking Jimbo. All right. Well, is it Stan?
Yeah.
Should we get into your topic?
My topic was the Latin American debt crisis. So, let me transport you guys back to the 1960s, late 1960s to be exact. And so, to give you some context,
Could you do a 1960s voice just to help us imagine?
maybe a transatlantic accent, perhaps.
Yes.
So I'll take you back to the 1960s in Latin America. I don't want to do that anymore.
That sounds like how you just should talk normally.
I think maybe I should. I'll work on that for the next podcast.
Yes.
But to give you a little bit of context, back in the day, in Latin America in the 1960s, there was a lot of dictatorships, especially in a lot of countries. Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Brazil, I believe, had a dictatorship. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. But a lot of them had dictatorships and that were sponsored by the United States government. That's not really important to the situation, but anyways, with these dictatorships, there were the most important part for the debt crisis was there were low interest rates. That was a huge thing, and a lot of these dictators wanted to invest within the country, and they wanted to show that they were the perfect option for the country instead of democracy, like what was like proposed a lot of the time during like the 60s, and like a lot of the hippie movements and stuff like that were like, you want free elections, free democracy and stuff like that. And so a lot of these dictators wanted to show that they were a better option than democracy, so they would often take out a lot of investments and a lot of loans from the IMF that were backed on oil, specifically oil from like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Iraq at the time. And so they took out a lot of these loans. Their goal was to use these loans for like infrastructure, things of that nature. Of course, a lot of these dictators didn't use that for infrastructure and to improve the betterment of the country. Particularly countries like Argentina and Chile, who had dictators who would often use that money to bolster their own gain or whatever, or like suppress voters or suppress opposition parties. They would just use that money to kind of like silence the opposition. But they took out these hefty loans, like extremely high loans that like you wouldn't normally take out, but since interest rates were so very low, and you could take out loans in a way where you would have floating interest rates as opposed to fixed interest rates. Floating interest rates means that the interest is subject to change depending on the market, as opposed to you would pay a higher premium straight out the gate for a fixed interest rate. That means that the interest rate would not change over time. You would be paying this interest rate every year, no matter what, the same percentage every year, as opposed to a floating interest rate, which means you may end up paying lower at the beginning, but if the global economy were to change, you would end up paying higher if that were to happen. But at the time, the global economy was doing very well, the oil economy was doing very well, and so you wouldn't be paying very much to take out these loans due to interest. But fast forward a little bit to the mid-70s, when there is the OPEC oil embargo, which is where a lot of oil nations in the Middle East would so at the time, a lot of the oil bearing countries in the Middle East worked together to kind of create a cartel called OPEC, and they chose to restrict the amount of oil being shipped to the United States and shipped to the United States allying nations, which was a lot of the Latin American world were aligned with the United States. And for the reasons why is very complex, is mostly due to the United States' support of Israel in the 6 Days War and the Suez Crisis, which a lot of OPEC nations did not agree with. So they chose to increase the interest rates and decrease the amount of oil shipped to those nations that aligned with the United States at the time. And since the interest rates increased so very highly, that caused a energy crisis in the United States. And that was characteristic by, like, if you were to go to like the gas pumps, there wouldn't be any gas to get. It was very expensive to get gas, and there wasn't very much of it. And since a lot of the loans that these Latin American countries took out were based in oil and petroleum from OPEC, they ended up having to pay back these loans to these OPEC nations. And since they decreased the amount of oil in the system, the interest rates skyrocketed. And so almost every nation in Latin America was put into this insane debt that they could not pay back. Like countries like Argentina and Chile took out like billion-dollar loans, like loans that you would not normally make. But since interest rates were so low in the late 60s, they decided that this was a good deal. They could take these back, and they chose floating rate interests, where the interest was super low. Like, it wouldn't affect how much they were paying back anyways. They'd be basically be paying back like cents on the dollar for how much they'd be paying back anyways for the loans.
But I'm guessing that's going to turn out to be a mistake.
Yes, that's a very big. That's the biggest mistake in the entire crisis. So the interest rates skyrocketed due to the oil embargo on the United States and its allies. And so after the interest shoots up, since they chose floating interest, the interest will change depending on the global economy. The global economy shifted in favor of OPEC. So then they would end up paying like 20% interest as opposed to like 0.5% interest, which is quite huge. And so that caused a lot of these countries to go into an insane amount of debt that they couldn't really do anything about. And so it's one of the only times in like global history where like an entire region of the globe was in extreme debt. Like almost every single country in Latin America, except for like very small countries, like I don't think Guatemala participated. I don't think El Salvador participated. I don't think Honduras participated. Like a lot of Central American countries didn't participate. But like some major like hitters in the Latin American economy like were like heavily involved within these loans and these debts, and it caused a lot of turmoil. It caused a lot of problems, and so it caused extreme economic downturn in a lot of these countries because they're trying to pay back these debts that they just, even in like 1 million years, they wouldn't be able to pay back due to the interest that they have like accumulated because of it changing so much in the span of like 2 years. And so there's this global governing body called the IMF that was created after World War II. It was Franklin Roosevelt's idea to create like an international monetary fund, which is what the IMF stands for, which is like, because most wars in the past would start from like, this country owned this country so much money, so then they deserve the right to invade this country to return that money. Like very, very reminiscent of like the Treaty of Versailles after World War I, since Germany owed so much money to these other countries for causing World War I that they just might as well seize these other parts of Germany to reclaim the debts that they already owed. And in an attempt to kind of avert a global war, they created the IMF, which would like kind of like regulate these things, and like the whole IMF's like main goal is to facilitate hard currency from leaving the countries, and that would pay back their debt. And so when IMF strategies were imposed upon a lot of these countries in Latin America, the only country that like disagreed with IMF loans was Cuba. Cuba said that every country in Latin America should default on their loans because why not? And almost every country except for Cuba said, fuck off, we're going to listen to the IMF. Cuba was the only one that didn't listen because they're Cuba.
They got their own shit going on.
They got their own shit going on, and they just never listened, and they didn't really get affected by the debt crisis at all. Which, I'll let you decide whether or not you should listen to Cuba. But, a lot of these countries in Latin America decided to listen to the IMF and were like, okay, we'll take out these IMF loans. So the International Monetary Fund.
So they're taking out more loans to pay off the interest on their original loans?
Yes, because the original loans were so high, they took out like absurd loans, like of like trillions or billions of dollars to do bullshit, since the interest was so low at the time. Then the interest skyrocketed, so then there's no possible chance they could pay off these loans. It would take like 4,000 years to pay off these loans. And so the IMF was like, okay, we can bail you guys out and pay off these like OPEC countries right now, so you guys aren't in like any like trouble. And so almost every country in Latin America agreed. Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay,
Where's
Brazil.
the money coming from? The IMF money?
It's coming from the IMF. IMF is a part of the United Nations.
So the UN funds it?
Kind of. It's kind of weird because the IMF is part of the UN, but not really.
But it's just like tax money from a bunch of nations?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And so they would take out loans, because the whole point of the IMF is to give out loans to countries that are struggling with loans from another country to avoid war.
Sure.
That is like the whole goal. It's like, we can give you money so you don't get invaded and pillaged by another country. And it's inherently sounds like a fine idea, you know?
That's another died. We have
But-
to be done.
We can't keep doing this, guys. But
For viewers, we're playing the burp game.
and it's becoming quite difficult, in all full honesty.
And Gus sucks at it. Gus and Stan fucking
Bruhmus
suck
won't
at
stop
it.
Suck.
fucking burping.
Gus and
Bruhmus
Stan-
does
That
was
it every
Eli.
10 seconds.
That was
Okay,
Eli.
guys,
I'm
come on.
just burping. Like,
Guys,
every
can we
five.
agree
y'all
that
just mad that you suck at that game.
guys. So, anyways, the IMF gives a lot of these countries loans to pay off the interest that they owe to OPEC. OPEC is the cartel in the Middle East that gave a lot of the money to begin with. And since they can't pay back those loans, it would cause a lot of problems for them. It would cause a lot of economic downturn, and which would just, in general, cause conflict within Latin America and the Middle East, which is just not a good thing. Not good for really anybody. And so the IMF agreed. They're like, okay, we're going to give you these loans, but we have these stipulations. You must facilitate foreign investment. You must facilitate foreign companies investing within your nation, so you can generate hard currency. Hard currency basically means any denomination of currency that isn't the local economy. Because in a lot of local economies in Latin America, like the Argentinian peso is worth less than the American dollar. It just is, and you can get into the economic reasons as to why, but it's not really that important right now. But the whole point was you would either want to generate euro, pound, or dollar. And that's the main thing you would want to generate. Because most OPEC nations wouldn't accept like 10 billion Argentinian peso, because it's not worth that much, as opposed to 10 billion US dollars. And so the IMF were like, okay, you have to do these things. You have to facilitate foreign currency. You have to facilitate either euro, pound, or whatever. You have to facilitate euro, pound, or US dollar, and then we'll listen to you, and you can start paying back your loans in that currency. You can't pay back in your local currency. It's just not going to work. And when the IMF imposed those rules, a lot of countries were like, okay, we have to follow. We already took out the IMF loans. There's nothing we can really do. And so once they took out those loans, and this is like in the 1980s, is when the crisis like started, they had to like change a lot of their economic policies. Like a lot of policies in Latin America were arguably socialist. Like they would want to like bolster like working class and like give like suffrage towards like the working people, and like help out everybody they can, make like public transport free and such. But then they had to end up like privatizing a lot of different industries within the country and like give them to like foreign companies that specialized in those industries in order to make hard currency. And when they did that, it allowed them to pay back the IMF loans that they took out, but in exchange, a lot of those countries lost control of their own territory to foreign countries. And that's why in a lot of Latin American countries there's high crime rates and high like poverty rates, because these international industries and international corporations didn't really care too much about the local industries, care too much about the local economy, because they were hell-bent on just making profit. And so that's why there's a lot of places in like Brazil, Argentina, Chile that were like very economically impacted by these loans. And it was a very interesting crisis. How it was the entire region was in severe debt for like at least like a decade, and like most countries didn't get out until like the mid 1990s.
International debt like that, at a certain point, it's like not even like real numbers. Like there's that one meme where it's like the world is, you know, $100 billion.
Like who are we in debt to? The Decepticons?
It's like, everybody's just in debt to everybody. Like
it's really interesting. That's why like
it's just numbers shifting around at that point.
That's why I made a point of like messaging like or mentioning like Cuba, because like Cuba just like refused the IMF and refused they just defaulted on their debts from OPEC and nothing happened.
Yeah.
So it was like, what if every country just defaulted as well?
They were just like fuck y'all. We're not.
And like we already got the money. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Like what would have happened? Like would all of Latin America be in better standing
this
now?
This is like way earlier, but like when France was like, all right, now Haiti is $1 trillion.
That was the first instance of that happening. That's why the IMF was created because France fucked over Haiti when Haiti like took out a bunch of loans and they're like, fuck you, we're gonna invade you anyways.
Yeah. Well, originally France imposed a debt on Haiti because they were like, because Haiti was created from an insurrection of enslaved people.
Yeah.
And they all freed themselves, and France was like, you guys have to pay us for all the enslaved people that you freed. Like, that's where the debt came from.
That's where like the idea of the IMF came from, was because of Haiti. They were like, we don't want anything to, like, we don't want like a fucking regional war in Latin America. Like that'd be quite devastating for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's a very, I don't know, because like I learned about it in one of my classes that I took.
Well, yeah, I was about to ask what put you onto this topic.
It was, I took a history of the politics of Latin America, and it was like, the reason we talked about it is because it's influenced a lot of like politicians in Latin America in like this century, because it's like a lot of American neoliberalists have like agreed to like what the IMF has said to do in Latin America. But it's benefited really only the United States and Europe and like like not Interpol, but like United Nations and stuff like that. When like a lot of Latin American countries like only lost from these IMF.
They're paying off debts that like the money they use on these debts like doesn't even fucking matter.
It doesn't matter because like they could have.
It has nothing to do with anybody in power now.
They could have defaulted to the OPEC and nothing would have happened, but now they're defaulting to IMF, which gives like the United Nations and the United States reason to like invade them or like fuck them over or like do regime change, which is quite interesting. Like, and like a lot of the countries in Latin America were arguably socialists and wanted to like help working classes with those loans that were taken out and like rebuild infrastructure. Some of them did not, like Pinochet did not. He used it to build like a lavish palace and then he got fucking like overthrown.
Yeah, but it's like that's exactly why. It's like, why should they continue to pay for Pinochet's
like his mistakes? Like he chose to take out the fucking $1 billion loan to build a big palace. So why should like for generations, like a lot of these countries are still paying off the IMF loans. Like Argentina is still paying off the loans. Chile is still paying off the loans. Paraguay and Uruguay are still paying off the loans. Brazil, I don't think is. Cuba, of course, just refused the IMF. They said the IMF is what they said was neo-colonialism was what the IMF is. I mean, that's for you to decide if it is neo-colonialism or not. One could truly argue that it is because it's economic colonialism.
Yeah, all the listeners, let us know if that is.
Let us know in the comments
if it is or not. You know,
in the comments, is that
colonialism? A form of neo-colonialism.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
get that conversation started.
Franklin Roosevelt's idea of the IMF is quite different than what the IMF actually turned out to be. Like the idea of the IMF was to like bail out countries that could not afford to pay back the loans that they took out. Like the whole point was they would give them the money so then they could pay it back and then just move on. But it kind of turned into in like the 70s and 80s that like you had to pay back the IMF as well.
Right.
So it just really begs the question, is the IMF a good or a bad entity, or is it like following within the footsteps of what Roosevelt wanted?
And I mean, what would the IMF do if the Argentina didn't pay them?
Exactly. Like most likely what would have happened would be like regime change from the United States, because the biggest backer of the IMF is the United States.
But like how? Like what would that entail? I guess or just nobody knows.
Like
we would have to see. Like it just didn't happen. Because if Cuba would have agreed to the IMF loans and didn't pay back, then we would have known. But they just chose to default on the OPEC loans from the very beginning in the 70s. And nothing happened because OPEC was mostly just trying to make a point. They weren't necessarily hell bent on like fucking over like Latin America. They didn't really give a fuck about them.
Yeah.
The OPEC's point was fucking over the United States and the support of Israel, which is a whole different topic if you want to talk about United States and Israel support. But
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Dude, fuck it, let's get into that.
We're already
We
an
can do
hour
that
and 30
right
in.
now.
Yeah, why not?
Fuck.
Let's bring Jimbo into the combo.
I think it's a very interesting thing how like an entire region of the globe was in debt. It's the only time it's ever happened where an entire region of the globe was in debt to one entity. And that has never happened before, and that completely dictated the like policies and governments of these countries for the next like 40 years and still on. Like a lot of these countries are following what the IMF would want them to do so they can pay back these loans.
It's wild.
Like Chile is like mostly paid back. Like it's like kind of negligible how much they owe to the IMF now. Same for Argentina. But like I'm not quite sure the figures on Paraguay and Uruguay because their loans were significantly smaller. They're just like smaller countries in general. They weren't taking out like fucking $400 billion loans for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
But it begs the question of like, should governments 40 years later be held to the same like issues that dictators held 40 years prior did? Like, if Pinochet took out a $400 billion loan to the IMF,
Yeah, how long does it take for a debt to be forgiven?
like at what point is it just negligible? Because they are making back their money regardless of Latin America paying back their money. And it really put a lot of these countries that would be like, are arguably superpowers in these days, it kind of set them back 100 years for loans that didn't even really matter. And I don't know, I feel like it's a very interesting situation.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of zoned out at the beginning of it, and I was playing like catch up for the rest of the time that you were talking about it a little bit. But I think I got the gist.
I mean, if you have any questions, I can answer it right now.
Yeah. So like, what happened?
In the beginning?
Yeah. So like, it was like a debt or something.
So yeah, it's like most of it. Yeah, I think you got the idea.
I feel like
I feel like they took loans from the Middle East.
Yeah.
They were worried about the Middle East invading. So
Right. And the
US
IMF stuff
created this
steps in.
international.
Well, the IMF was created in 1946.
Not by the U.S., right? It
By
was
the
by
US.
the UN.
UN, yes,
United-
yes.
No,
It
by
was-
who'd you say created
Interpol.
It was not Interpol. It was
I know.
it was Franklin Roosevelt's
That's the
idea.
US.
He didn't necessarily create it. It was the United Nations that agreed to create it. And so, since they were so, it was created. The IMF was created in 1946. It was created like a little while after World War II, since there was like just a lot of debt happening around World War II. And the main concern was putting Germany in so much debt that they would create another like fucking like they would create the Fourth Reich.
Yeah, but basically it was like, we'll pay off this interest on your debt so you don't get invaded, and then you owe us to pay off what we gave you.
Yes. So a lot of these countries took out loans to OPEC, and since OPEC increased the interest rate by creating an oil embargo on a lot of countries, since they created that oil embargo, that increased the interest rate, and since a lot of Latin American countries chose floating interest rates, which means that the interest rate can fluctuate depending on what's going on. Since normally it's fiscally, it's a better idea to pick a fixed interest rate, meaning that it just won't change. You will pay a higher premium than what's happening now, but if things were to increase, your interest rate wouldn't increase because you picked fixed. But since they all picked floating, which is absolutely bizarre, that every single country picked floating at the same time. It's never happened before. They all picked the same exact thing. And so, since they all picked floating, and then OPEC decided to do their bullshit and fuck over the United States, which I don't care what you think, if that's the right move or not. I don't care.
Right.
They decided to do that, and since all these countries took loans out from them, the interest rate skyrocketed to the point where like they couldn't pay it. Like it went from like 0.5% of what they were paying back was interest to like 20% was the interest. So if you took out like a $1 billion loan, it would take you like 100 years to pay back the interest rate. And so that destroyed every economy of every country in Latin America. Except for Cuba.
Because
Because Cuba said, I'm not paying back the loan regardless. And Cuba made I think it was Fidel Castro was still in charge at the time. And he made this really big paper. He was like, every country in Latin America needs to default on their loans right now.
Kind of a goated move.
And it worked out for them. The other ones had to
Right.
succumb to these weird rules that the IMF made to that would end up just harming their country. And Cuba was the only one that wasn't harmed by that. Cuba has other issues going on, but arguably those are only because of the United States. So they kind of just all got in debt, except Cuba is technically still in debt to OPEC, but they're just not paying it back. And OPEC, if they I guess hindsight's 2020. But if you would have Cuba had the right point of OPEC isn't trying to get money from us, they're trying to get money from the United States. Because it wasn't fucking Argentina was not supporting Israel. Argentina didn't really give a fuck. Chile didn't give a fuck about what was happening in the Middle East for the most part. But so it caused the interest rates to skyrocket. And since the interest rates were so high, they could not pay back those interest rates. The IMF stepped in and said, hey, if you guys want to avoid international conflict, we will give you the money to pay back OPEC right now, but you guys will have to pay me back in the future. Which basically just increases the debt to even further, which is arguably the goal of the IMF.
Right.
Was to increase the debt of these countries so they are now not enslaved, but under the orders of the IMF as opposed to OPEC. Because OPEC could have created different stipulations, being oh, you have to make these policy decisions to pay back our debt, but the IMF was okay, but you could make back these decisions, and that's kind of what caused it all to happen.
I definitely get it now. I think.
And
Yeah.
for all those listening,
Solid summary.
Eli is bald. He doesn't have any hair on his head.
He has none.
I don't have any hair on my head.
None. He has none on his head.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be the next topic. We'll see. Any closing comments, guys?
Hey,
Should we do a thing where we vote on the best topic or something?
That could be fun. Me and Stan both had some
We had economic topics.
international economic topics.
Ours was very simple and more than I thought they would be.
You guys had
Mine was the
fucking
terrible
insane
mystery.
topics. I had to pay attention.
I had the terrifying mystery.
Yeah, you had the
horrible
terrifying mystery, and
thing.
you had our friend.
Yeah. I had
Great
I like Gus's. I vote for Gus's. I like Gus's a lot.
I'm voting for Bruhmus's. That one was, easy to understand. I didn't have to focus too hard on it or anything. And also,
Scary story.
we were all really
It was riveting.
locked into it. It was riveting.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you.
That's Fletcher.
But I know
Yeah.
Gus was interested in my topic.
I was interested, yes.
Well, I was definitely interested in your topic. It's also getting late. I'm getting drunk, and I zoned out for the first
Hey,
half.
if anyone wants to
That's okay.
partake, go for
For
it.
those who are listening, Bruhmus is
Destroy
eating
that shit.
saffron.
Yes.
Destroy that shit, man.
Yeah. So I'm voting for Bruhmus's topic.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm just gonna eat the rest of this.
You can fuck it up. Maybe you save me a bite.
Nah.
All right.
He can fuck it
Honestly,
up.
Yeah.
I have mine in your curve. We have the same exact thing.
What?
We
Stan,
have the same.
so you liked
Oh,
this? So
No, it's okay.
you liked Gus's topic.
I did like Gus's topic. quite a
I
bit.
voted for Bruhmus's. What do you
I
guys
feel like
vote?
I gotta vote for.
I vote for mine.
I don't know. I think just picking a friend is kind of an inventive move.
It is.
Never been
very
done.
different.
But also Stan's was riveting. But also Bruhmus's.
Riveting, man.
I thought the way that you found yours was really cool. You just randomly stumbled upon it because your dad.
Yeah, I was listening to this
It was like your
podcast. I
dad's
was actually.
iPod.
I didn't have any service. I was on this little tiny shuttle bus going to a little village in the mountains in Mexico. And I listened to it.
That is very interesting. And I was,
We
since
can't
yours was
ask
the
if that's
first.
real or not.
Yes.
That's the
can't.
thing.
However, it is real. Believe me or not.
I feel like it might have
Not
not
gonna
been
ask.
real because 1MDB is very similar to IMDb, and I know you're a movie buff.
Yes, it's true.
for all you movie buffs out there, IMDb. I don't even know how to explain
It's
it.
got something to do with movies.
They rate movies.
Yeah, it's about
they-
movies or something.
They make
and actors or
movies. They say
something.
some shit about movies. You know, fuck it.
It's important. I'll say that.
IMDb, 1MDB. What's the difference?
Right.
End of the day,
Well,
I think
good
that
shit, guys.
I
Good
think
first
that
podcast.
concludes the Thinking Capsule.
The Thinking Podcast.
The topical storm.
It
That was it. That was
it
our
was-
topical storm.
The storm was hectic.
I just want you to come with
Yeah, it was
Alright,
an
guys.
intense storm.
So-
Stan,
A lot of
any,
us had to take shelter.
Stan, any closing comments?
I liked every topic we had. Everything kind of shocked me.
This
I thought
isn't a-
everybody
this
had
isn't-
like a lot better topics than I was like, thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody was like, going to be bad, but there was more details than I honestly thought was going to be.
Yeah. I'm excited for the next one. Next week, huh?
Next week.
Next
Can
week
I
we'll
get a
just-
guest spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be guest next week if you want.
And
Alright, we gotta end this. Thanks, guys, for tuning in,
All right.
and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Peace.